It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Longwood head softball coach, Coach Dr. Megan Brown. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college softball?
For me, the option was kind of simple. When I graduated college, was getting ready to graduate college, kind of wrapping that up. Just very prayerful about what the next steps look like for me and what I needed to pursue, and just really felt that being a coach was kind of what God was calling me to do. So that's pretty simple for me on that.
What was that experience like for you as a college softball player going to Florida Southern?
Florida Southern has my heart. They always will. I consider myself very blessed to have had the opportunity to play for a Hall of Fame coach and Coach Pilato. She is one of the dearest people I've ever met, and just I had amazing teammates. Just so many great friendships, so many great memories. I will forever count it a huge blessing in my life that I got to play for Florida Southern.
While at Florida Southern, what was that experience like getting to put on that uniform, and what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
I got to play with a great team, and that was the whole thing. The women that played around me were just amazing. We got the opportunity as a team to play for a national championship. We went to the national tournament 3 out of 4 years, and just the confidence they instilled in each other, and of just we were together, we were a team, and it meant something that you played at Florida Southern. It meant something to us, and I just was grateful to be a part of a really great program, and get to play with some really amazing women.
Coming out of college, what was that experience like for you going professionally and playing in the professional MPF?
It's a dream come true. I mean, I think every young athlete, either male or female, aspires to play in the Olympics or play professionally. Like, Woody, to play at the highest level and to have that opportunity out of college was just something I had always dreamed of. And then, you never forget the day you get the call that, hey, you're going to get to do it. And I can remember, like, felt like I was floating on air. It was just such an exciting time. And then so many amazing experiences, met so many great people, people I still am friends with and still have connection with, which, in today's world, you don't have many lifelong friends, and it's fun. We kind of laugh. We're like, oh, we've been friends for 15, 20 years now. And we're like, whoa, we're getting older. We didn't realize how quickly this would happen, but it's great to have those long time friendships.
What was that experience like for you getting to play for Michigan Ice in the MPF?
It was it was tremendous. I mean, to see softball at that level, to play against some of the best in the world, and put your skill on the line. Like, all right, this is what I have, and who am I? Where does my skill stack up with the rest of the world, literally? And that was just a huge blessing and something I'll always be grateful for.
For you as a player, what was that experience like getting to travel all around the world and traveling overseas to play?
That was just something I don't know that I ever could have imagined. I can remember traveling through Italy and seeing different sites and thinking, how on earth did this hick from Carrollton, Georgia get to do this? Uh, Growing up, my grandmother was a world traveler. Her and my grandfather traveled tremendously in their later years, and she always had cool stories of places they had been and people they had met and things they had seen. And I always wanted to have cool stories. So when the opportunity presented itself to play overseas and travel the world, I couldn't turn it down. It was just something that I was so blessed and overwhelmed. So many fond memories of things that I saw and did, and experiences and people I met that I wouldn't trade for the world.
After your professional playing time, what was it like getting into coaching and first becoming a volunteer assistant in the SEC at Auburn?
So I was really fortunate that my transition to coaching kind of happened simultaneously with the end of my playing career. So I was playing and coaching at the same time, which was great because I was throwing batting practice and staying in really good shape. But I was also kind of learning that side of the game and how much goes into getting a team ready and preparing. And I think it was really great that I did both at the same time because it helped me have really good perspective because it is different on both sides. And I will forever be grateful to Coach Deese for allowing me to be on her staff and just learn and kind of make all the mistakes and figure it all out and or not still haven't figured it all out, but to just learn under someone at a high level and their patience and grace to help me learn and then continue to grow as an assistant.
What were some of the things that you took from your time at Auburn and learning from there to then help you to make that transition to UNC Pembroke?
A lot of it was just how to the day to day, how much goes into it, how to prepare practice plans, how to work with other coaches because it's very different than working with a teammate. When you're working under a head coach of how to, take care of things, how to organize things, how to see what is needed before they know they need it, because you're trying to be astute to the things that are coming up and just how to manage a lot. I was in, my time in Auburn, I was getting my PhD, I was playing professionally, I was coaching, I was teaching lessons. Like I felt like every odd job I took. And I laughed when I got the job at Pembroke. My dad was like, all right, this is like your big girl first time job. And I was like, Dad, I'm just glad I have one job. So I've been working four of late. So to now only have one is like, oh, this will be easier. So it just kind of, the busyness of it helped you kind of learn to keep all the plates in the air.
Of course, as you talked about that, what was that feeling like coming to Pembroke and having that as your full-time job?
It was such a great opportunity. I'm so grateful to Coach Melanson for hiring me and taking the chance on a first time assistant. That's always a prayerful endeavor for any head coach. Just like, all right, how are they going to be? What are they going to do? And, got to spend 3 years with her and just really learned a lot, learned how to grow players, how to manage a lot of different pieces. I can still run a chalk line without a string. And, you just figure out how to line the field and do it quick and so many things of when you do all the things, you learn to appreciate all the things, especially then when you have opportunity to have people help you with those. I got to teach. I taught 2 courses there as well, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being a professor. So just a lot of fun experiences.
As a coach, what was the transition like for you going from Division 2 to Division 1?
It was similar. There's obviously different rules with the recruiting, and that's always a big piece. The recruiting piece is so much heavier at the Division 1 level. The level of play, I mean, having played pro, it was kind of like, okay, that wasn't that was something I was used to. A lot of it's just the logistics of everything, how much you're traveling. And then obviously the recruiting piece is a learned skill. It's a lot to learn how to recruit at that level and the consistency and the amount that goes into the recruiting process.
Coming to UConn, what was that experience like going to UConn and being their assistant?
Coach Mellons is such a wonderful woman. I've been so blessed to work for or play for Hall of Famers, and Coach Mullins is a Hall of Famer. And she just took me under her wing. I actually lived with her for 2 weeks when I first moved there so I could find a place. And she was just such a amazing mentor to me as a first assistant of how to manage time, how to really take on roles and, own the role. Like, all right, this is what I've got to take care of and making sure that it's done in line with a program. And just that's kind of your first, like, okay, there's a lot of responsibility in that seat, even as a first assistant. So I think that was kind of the first beginnings of preparing me for being a head coach.
While at UConn, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
We had a lot of fun that year. A lot of good things. We moved to the American, which was the first time going to that conference. So just learning how it is when you go to a brand new conference and the travel and the different things. Just was really proud of our team. They fought and they grew a lot. So it was a great time.
What was that transition going to Boston College and getting to coach in the ACC?
That was great. Coach Obrist again took an opportunity on someone she didn't know at first, and I will always be grateful for the 4 years I spent at BC. That was where I really felt like I got my footing. As an assistant, you work as hard as you can, but you really have to find like what is your niche? What do you bring that every other assistant that does your job doesn't, so you can kind of continue to grow. And there's some amazing players there that just bought in, and it gave me time to just get my feet under me and work, learn how to recruit, learn how to develop players, how to build a pitching staff, which they're learned skills. Nobody just walks in the door like, oh, I know how to do all of this. It's like, no, you don't. And you got to make your mistakes, and you got to, go in and be like, I completely messed this up. And they're like, yes, you did. It's like, okay, but I fixed it. So here's what we're going to do now. And just having those times of you've got to go through the process, and you've got to go through the growing pains of it. But helped me learn how to manage a lot, learn that level, and play some really amazing teams.
How was that experience like getting to coach the pitchers at Boston College?
It was a huge blessing. Coach Obrist, let me have free reign, and just, was the trust she had in me was just I was so grateful for that. And then just supporting me to do what we needed to do. And then the full credit goes to every pitcher that threw during that time at Boston College. I mean, they were amazing. They were easy to coach. They worked hard. They showed up every day. And the credit goes to the kids. It's them always.
Through your coaching time, what has it been like for you coaching at different conferences like the ACC, SEC, and Pac 12?
An amazing blessing. There's so many different levels, and each conference almost has their own culture of softball, which is really neat. It's interesting to see how certain conferences play a certain brand of softball, and it's been fun to learn all of those and try to learn what are the best pieces of each of those and how to really adapt those and put those into a program, and just, try to continue to learn all there is to learn and learn from your opponents. I mean, there's so many tremendous coaches in those leagues, and getting to learn from them. Sometimes those lessons were very hard learned on the scoreboard, but nonetheless, well learned. And so just grateful for the opportunity to compete against some really great schools.
While coaching in those conferences, what was that experience like going against those big teams like Carolina, NC State, Georgia, Alabama, and all Oregon?
It's one of those where you have to do it. You have to go play the top schools. And we do that here at Longwood. We go play the top schools because they're extremely talented, and you want to know what that level's like. And it looks one way on TV, it looks another way across the field. And they used to talk about UConn women's basketball, and there was a time where they won their 4 national championships in a row, and everybody said it's extremely difficult to beat them the first time you play them because they're so overwhelming. And I think that's true across all sports. The first few times you play that top team, it's like, okay, like, all right, we see it. But the more you play it, the more you start to realize, like, no, okay, I see what they're doing. Now can I learn how to do that? Can we bring our team there? And it helps raise your team's level really quickly because you're in the fire pretty quick.
What was that feeling like the first time you became a head coach for the first time and coming to Longwood?
Just unbelievable joy, gratitude. I will forever be grateful to Director Meadows for, again, taking a chance. I feel like people have taken a lot of chances on me as a very, first time head coach in a program that had such an amazing legacy and beautiful traditions. And for her to say, okay, we're going to let you have a run at this, was a very bold and brave move by her, and one I will forever be grateful for.
For you, what was that feeling like taking over a program that has a rich legacy from when Caitlin Riley, the coach, previously was there?
Coach Riley was just an amazing coach and did so many great things with the program and just moved it so far from a Division II to Division I, and just so many great players, so many amazing moments. And for me, it was just gratitude. to be able to be a part of such a great program.
What was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto that softball field as a head coach?
Well, it was kind of funny because I took over during COVID and all the fun that went with that. So we didn't have a fall season. And so, at first I was like, okay, well, we'll just focus on the team, we'll get them ready. Like this is going to be great. And then the first game we played was Georgia, and I was like, well, maybe this wasn't as great as I wouldn't have mind having a few fall games under our belt. But there was definitely some nerves and you know, some moments, but it was exciting and grateful that I had that opportunity.
Of course, in that game against Georgia, what was that like being your first time as a head coach going against a program like Georgia with a rich history?
Why not? Like, here we go. We might as well go. I will say as a coach, you kind of think of like, all right, what will I say after the game? And knowing they're a great team, all the scenarios I had gone through in my mind, we ended up getting no hit and run ruled. And I will say that was not one I had run through my mind of what I was going to say to the team after that. So it was definitely making it up on the fly as I walked from the dugout out to the outfield to talk with them. But the fun of that is the very next day they came back and beat Georgia. So we went from no hit and run rule to winning. So I was extremely proud of those young women and their resolve. But the 12 hours between that was it was a rather prayerful evening. There wasn't a lot of sleep that night. As you're thinking, maybe this wasn't for me, but I was grateful that they didn't call and fire me on the spot, and we got another opportunity the next morning.
We're taking over a program with a rich history and legacy. What has that been like, and how have you been able to continue to build a culture?
The thing is, we talked about it when we first, had the opportunity to come in. It's not redoing; it's building on great foundations and strengthening foundations. You always want to make sure your foundation's really strong. So to me, it wasn't, a new era or a new anything. It was a continued build in a really positive direction on a really great foundation.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach versus for your players at Longwood?
For me, it's busy. Depending on the time of the day, I'm definitely going over film the last time, making sure I've got all my notes prepared. For me, usually prepared means I can go through the lineup in my head and kind of call the game before I call it in my head, based on the pitcher we're going to use. Go ahead and prepare for all the adjustments that we may need to make throughout the game. Have our lineup ready. Have our, who's coming off the bench when. Just basically being able to prepare as much as possible. I like to get to the field early if we're at home. I think it's just something about being there as our grounds crew is kind of finishing everything up. There's a stillness before the crazy, and I've just always enjoyed that for home games. On the road, obviously, there's a little bit of quiet right before we either watch film or depart the hotel. Just kind of enjoying those last quiet moments before we get ready to go, and then it's on. I think our players are similar. They like to come to the field. They definitely want to eat before they come or eat at the field, whatever we have going on, and they have a good time in the locker room. Just that last prep, them together. They have the music up and getting ready to go, and it's a special time for them right before they come out.
As a head coach, what are some of the things that you took from your time as a professional athlete and playing professional softball over to now being a head coach?
The big thing I've learned is winning is winning. Winning mentality is winning mentality. No matter the sport, no matter the role, winning is a set of executable skills. And accounting for those, accounting for the approach, that, you can play at a really high level no matter what the name on your jersey, no matter where you've been, no matter where you came from. You can play this game at a really high level. And so just, let's push, let's work, let's stay focused on things that help us win, and let's work together most of all.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against each week?
Everybody. I mean, it's 1 through 7. everybody's, we get everybody's best game and we try to give them our best. So I think our conference is tough. It's separated usually by just one game at the end. So I think everybody's tough.
Who are some of those teams in your conference?
It's everybody. It's Upstate, it's Gardner Webb, it's Charleston Southern, it's Presbyterian, Hampton, or not, excuse me, not Hampton, Radford, Winthrop. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but it's everybody. They're all coming after us.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Gardner Webb comes to home versus going to Gardner Webb?
I love playing at our place. I think we have an amazing atmosphere. I've had Power 5 coaches say they love playing at our place because the atmosphere is so great. Our game day staff does a tremendous job with the promotions, the fan experience. So full credit to them, and then also to our fans. We truly have a huge support system here. We play in front of a full house every home game. They pack the stands, the outfield. They park across the street at the fruit stand. They're always there, and they make the atmosphere just amazing to play in. So full credit to them. They do a great job.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes, and what do you look at in those prospective student athletes as a head coach?
The biggest thing for us is fit, and fit being the positions we're needing, the type of player that we need, the skill set that they need. Would they be somebody that will help our team continue to grow? And that's the big one, because if it doesn't, there's great players and there's amazing things that they do, but it's all about finding the right fit for our program of the vision, the mentality, the work ethic, and then the skill set. So we're looking for several things, but all of it comes down to, will they put another piece in the puzzle that we're trying to build?
As a head coach, what is it like on the official visit, seeing them fall in love with the campus?
Well, we do it a little different. Like we bring them on the unofficial. Officials are our committed kids. So when they come, they've already committed, and we have a big weekend. They all meet each other, and it's a good time for all of our committed kids to really embrace. It's kind of their first big Longwood experience, but it's fun to bring young women in and show them what we're about. Yeah, we try to be really transparent in the recruiting process. This is who we are. This is what we do. And we're looking for women who want to come and work and build and be a part of something special. So it's fun to see them find their home and know that, yeah, that's where I want to be.
As a head coach, was it like seeing those freshmen put on that uniform for the first time versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
It's always a bittersweet moment on senior day when they are finishing up, to see their journey, and especially when they've played for you for a long time. This year will be the first year that I'll have seniors that played for their entire college career, for me, and that's just a special time, to see them grow from 18-year-old young ladies to grown women ready to step out in the world and do amazing things. So it's fun to see that, and it's fun to watch the freshmen begin their journey, because where they are now is not where they'll end, and it's exciting to see how far they come.
As a head coach and a former professional athlete, what is that experience like for you, seeing them go on and make it into the professional route, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the NPF?
It's awesome for them. I think it's something that is great for women to just have the opportunity to play at higher and higher levels. They really hit their stride. Some of their best softball will be played in their late 20s, and it's exciting to get to see them put that on the field at a really high level.
What are some of your future plans for the Longwood softball program moving forward?
When I was hired, I was tasked to take the team to a super regional. Our team the program under Coach Riley had been to 2 regional finals. So as with every program, taking that next step, what is the next step? So we want to continue to grow and build. And it's a hard process. To make the equivalent of the Sweet 16 is a very hard process because there's some amazing teams out here. But just the daily work ethic to continue to grow, take one more step forward each day. The sky's the limit. So we just want to keep building.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college softball?
Come in eyes wide open, ask the hard questions, find out what you're getting yourself into as best you can. No, it will not be exactly like you thought it would be. Understand that you've got 4 years and you can either find the good or the bad, and it'll be your choice, and you'll find whatever you look for. So go and enjoy it. It'll be done before you know it. And that's the good days and the bad days. So embrace every minute. It's going to go quick, but find a good home and commit and plant your roots there and build a legacy where you go.
What advice would you give those college softball players out there looking to play in professional softball, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the MPF?
You have to keep growing. Like, you have to keep growing. You may be the best player on your team, but everybody at that level is the best player on their team. And so, people, they say, well, there's a reason you hit 7, 8, 9. And the MPF, the reason you hit 7, 8, 9 is because everyone can't hit 4. And so you are facing everybody's 3, 4 hitters. And so you've got to, it's not just being the best on the team. You've got to push yourself of, can I be the best in the country? Can I be the best in the world? And that's a tall order. But that's what the level is. And it's an exciting time, but it's well worth it. I encourage our players that want to do it, but it is a lot of work. So it's a two-edged sword.
What advice would you give those college athletes out there looking to get into college coaching after their playing time?
Learn from your coach, the current coach you play for. Let them know that that's something you're intrigued in doing. Listen to how they talk. Listen to how they instruct. Find out how your teammates learn skills. How do you learn? Because at the end of the day, coaching is getting your kids to get it. Whatever the it of the day is, they got to get it. And how do you get people to understand and learn? How do you say things? Can you use words to paint a picture in their brain of what they need to do? And understand that when you walk out the door as a coach, playing at a high level doesn't mean you can coach at a high level. There's so many pieces to it. And understanding that, be willing to go to the low level and work. Be willing to go do the field. Be willing to go do the laundry. Go do the work. Get your skill better. And it won't happen as quickly as you hope. But when it does, if you do the work, you'll be able to stay. And that's the big thing. A lot of young coaches, I want to go Power 5 and be an assistant right away. And they're not ready, and they go and they don't do well, and then they have to work their way all the way back. And it's a very hard process to do that. It's better to work your way up and take your lumps, learn your lessons, take your medicine, learn your lessons. But you can build an amazing career if you do it.
What advice would you give those former professional softball players out there looking to get into coaching like you have?
The same process. Like, you got to do the work. You got to learn from people. You got to listen. You got to know that you start learning a lot when you realize you don't know very much. And the more you listen to others and learn from them and take little things from them and just continue to increase your toolbox, the better you get.
What advice would you give those future head coaches out there looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
Know where you want to go. Bible says without a vision, the people perish. You got to know where you're going. If you don't, your players are going to be lost very quickly. You got to set your course and know where you're going, and then find ways to get there. You're going to get told no a lot. That's okay. Don't be afraid to be told no. Be afraid not to pursue the yes. Because sometimes there's a way to do just about anything. You just got to find that way. And, if people say, well, we don't have the funds for that, raise them. We can't do it. Why? Like, find a way. If you want to do it, there is a way. Raise the funds, run the camps, talk to the donors, spend all day at the field with your kids. There's a way to do it. But it's not easy. Like, there's no this is just simple. It's hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of days. It's a lot of hours. But it can be done. And that's the whole thing is, are you willing to do it? And are you willing to find a way to do it at your place? Because every school is so different with their resources and their opportunities. But there's a way. You just got to find it.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Longwood softball program?
Our Longwood softball, all of our information's on our website, our Twitter, Instagram, all of that. We take great pride. We are the most followed team on campus. We have more followers than any team, and actually more than the department. So we're proud of that for Twitter. So please join us there. And then mine is just Dr. Coach Brown on Twitter and Instagram. So pretty easy.
Thank you again, Coach Dr. Megan Brown, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Longwood as the head softball coach.
Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Dr. Megan Brown, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.